You know, I often sit here in this silence, listening to the old house breathe along with me. At my age, silence stops being frightening. It becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, I see my 40-year-old self. Do you know who I was back then? I was a man in perpetual hurry. My pulse was always racing. My heart rate is constantly above the norm, and my gaze always glued to the numbers in a notebook or to the expensive watch on my wrist. I considered myself a hero.
I truly believed in the great lie of our time, the idea that love for children can be converted into currency and then cashed out in the form of shiny gifts, prestigious education, and real estate. We call it giving the kids a head start or securing their future. But let's be honest with ourselves, at least now, when I have nothing left to lose and you still have something to save. Behind this noble curtain often hides a simple, cowardly buyout. We are buying our way out of fatherhood. I remember so clearly the day I bought my son his first computer. It was the early 90s. It was an incredibly expensive piece of technology back then. I worked overtime for 3 months straight to afford it. I hardly saw him wake up in the morning, and I came home when he was already deep in sleep. In my mind, there was a perfect cinematic picture. I bring this huge, heavy box into the room. His eyes light up with pure joy. He is finally happy, and that happiness is entirely my merit. I thought I had bought myself the right to be called a good father. I thought I had earned my place at the table of his life. But I was catastrophically wrong. I made the most terrible deal of my life. I traded a living, breathing presence for inanimate plastic and silicon. You see, things have a very strange property. They die. Technology becomes obsolete within a few years. Toys break and lose their color. Expensive clothes tear and are thrown away. But the void that forms in a child's heart when a father is not there in a pivotal moment, that void does not break. It grows. It expands like a dark star. It becomes a permanent part of their psychological foundation, a hollow space where a sense of worth should have been. I spent a long time unable to understand why my children, now that they are adults, so rarely mention those expensive trips to Disneyland or the mountains of presents piled under the Christmas tree. Once, a few years ago, I asked my daughter, "Don't you remember that massive dollhouse I brought all the way from a business trip in Paris? I could barely fit it through the airplane doors." She looked at me with such a quiet, piercing sadness that it made my blood run cold. She replied, "Dad, I remember that on the evening you brought it home, you spent 2 hours on the phone discussing metal shipments, and then you went straight to bed because you were exhausted. I sat in that house all by myself. It was beautiful, but it was cold. It felt like a monument to your absence." In that exact moment, the scales fell from my eyes. I realized that gifts are just noise. They are a form of static we create to drown out the voice of our own nagging conscience. We bury our children under mountains of things so they won't notice that we ourselves are missing from the home. We tell ourselves, "But I am doing this for them." It is the most convenient lie ever invented. We work because work is understandable. Work provides a measurable, predictable result. You put in the hours, you get the promotion. But raising a child, sitting on the floor for 3 hours trying to fix a broken wing on a paper airplane, that is a result you cannot deposit into a bank account. Yet, that result is the only one that truly counts when the final audit of your life begins. Look at your hands right now. What are they holding? A smartphone? The keys to a luxury car? The leash of an expensive pedigree dog? Your children will never remember the price tag of those objects, but they will remember the touch of those hands. They will remember if those hands were warm, steady, and supportive, or if they were always reaching for something more important. I have seen hundreds of people leave this world in total, crushing loneliness, surrounded by rare antiques and priceless paintings they bought for their children. And their children didn't come to the bedside, not because they were cruel or ungrateful, but because they had simply learned to live without their parents. They had learned the very lesson we taught them from the cradle, that things are more important than people. We gave them things, and so they stayed with the things. The circle was completed. This is the materialism tax. We pay it over decades of growing alienation. We think we are purchasing their love, but in reality, we are purchasing their future indifference. A child who was showered with gifts instead of attention grows into an adult who knows the price of everything but the value of nothing. They will spend their lives searching for happiness in consumption because their primary authority figure, their father or mother, showed them that joy is something delivered in a cardboard box. Stop. Right now. If you are in the middle of a frantic race for the next milestone that you think your children need, look into their eyes today. They don't need a bigger house in a better zip code. They need you to notice the way they drew a strange, colorful bird in the margins of their school notebook. They need you to hear the tremor in their voice when they talk about a bully at school. Things are dust. They are destined for the landfill. But the memory that you were fundamentally important to your parents just for being you, not for your grades, not for your behavior, but simply for existing, that is the only capital that will never, ever depreciate. Don't wait until the 11th hour to realize that you've been building a palace of shadows while the real life was happening right under your nose. Do you know what the greatest tragedy of modern human connection is? It is our newfound ability to be present in a room without being present in a life. We have mastered the art of sitting across from someone, nodding our heads, and offering uh-huhs while our eyes are locked onto a glowing screen or our minds are drifting thousands of miles away. We are physically there, but our souls are occupied by reports, by tomorrow's schedule, or by endless invisible arguments with the ghosts of our past. We call this multitasking. We pride ourselves on it, but to a child, it has a much simpler and more devastating name. To a child, it is called, "I am not being seen." I remember an evening clearly, though it happened decades ago. My son was about 7 years old. He came into my study carrying a tattered book about beetles, something he was obsessed with at the time. I was in the middle of a project that I believed would finally secure my legacy at the firm. I was surrounded by blueprints and spreadsheets, and I barely looked up. I didn't even break my rhythm. I said, "That's nice, champ. Go play now. Dad is busy with something very, very important." I said it with a tone of voice as if I were literally saving the world from collapse, but in reality, I was collapsing his. You see, children live in a different dimension of time. They do not have a concept of later. To a child, the present moment is the only moment that exists. When they come to us with a small joy, a drawing, or a question about a bug, for them, that is the center of the entire universe. And every time we brush them off, We aren't just saving 5 minutes of our time. We are broadcasting a cruel, silent message into the very core of their being. We are telling them, your world is noise. Your interests are secondary. My meetings, my salary, and my social standing, these are the only things that are real. We tell ourselves they will forget these minor rejections, but they don't. These small denials of attention accumulate like layers of ice, eventually forming an impenetrable wall of alienation that you will spend the rest of your life trying to climb. Attention is a currency that cannot be traded or bought in bulk. It is either given fully or it is not given at all. I have seen so many fathers throughout my life who tried to compensate for months of total emotional absence with a single extravagant trip to a 5-star resort. They truly believed that a week in a luxury hotel could erase the memory of the 300 days where Dad was just a shadow behind a laptop screen. But it never works. On that luxury holiday, the child doesn't see a father. They see the same stranger, just wearing a different shirt, whose mind is still wandering through the corridors of his office. Children are the most sophisticated lie detectors ever created. They know when you are looking at them but not seeing them.